Okay, thank you, Deanna. That was amazing. A great way to start us off. Love to see it. Our second speaker for the Clark Prize is Ilsaa Siddiqui, whose speech is titled Preparing Students for Civic Discourse, Fostering Critical Thinking, Open-mindedness, and Active Listening. She's currently getting her mic, so I'm just going to stand here awkwardly for a minute. Yeah. Okay, she's ready. Okay, welcome, Ilsaa.
Imagine yourself in a room full of individuals that think completely unlike you. Their perspectives challenge yours. Their experiences are entirely different, yet you are expected to engage in meaningful discussion with them. That is the reality that awaits every single future graduate of this institution. So the question we must ask ourselves is, how do we equip our students with the tools necessary to engage in civic discourse, which is an essential skill in this increasingly polarized society that we currently live in? Hamilton College prides itself on providing an extraordinarily strong liberal arts education through exceptional faculty. However, beyond imparting knowledge, it is important that we also impart the skills to build an open-minded growth mindset, have critical thinking, and also approach every single situation with incredible empathy. So, how can we do this? There are two things that we need to focus on, because there's no one perfect solution. That is within our courses and within our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, our DEI initiatives. So, in terms of our courses, Hamilton College's great strength is its open curriculum. Its open curriculum allows students to take courses that broaden their horizons, expand their minds, and understand various different topics of various different subject matters that perhaps they might not have otherwise done if they had simply taken courses aligned with one particular field. However, in terms of civic discourse, it is important to have multiple perspectives on the same subject. To do this, in terms of our courses, we need to have more interdisciplinary courses. Hamilton College already has various courses that are cross-referenced between multiple different fields. I have taken such courses myself, whether that was a course that was cross-tied between religion and women and gender studies, or courses that were cross-tied between digital arts and cinema and media studies. However, we need more of that, because in the real world, there are various perspectives on one particular subject. And by having courses, for example, that are cross-tied between philosophy and government, we can talk about the morality and ethics behind certain policies. We can talk about things like capital punishment. We can talk about economic sanctions. We can talk about the morality behind foreign intervention and military bases across the world. Having courses, for example, that are cross-tied between environmental sciences and economics can better equip students to talk about environmental policies, climate change regulations, and renewable energy alongside economic growth. That is why we need more interdisciplinary courses. So I'm imploring my fellow Hamley members to please offer more of such courses. Furthermore, in terms of courses, we need to offer conflict and mediation training. Other institutions have already started to incorporate such things in their curriculums. Hamilton College can do this by offering open workshops, but also offering credit-bearing courses that do this. This is extremely important because it is important to de-escalate conversations that get too intense. Being able to work through disagreements and strong emotions so that there's an actual productive dialogue happening between individuals. Finally, how we teach matters just as much as what we teach. The most impactful courses I have taken in my 4 years here at Hamilton College were the courses that had tons of open discussion, small group work, but also large group work, Socratic seminars, and the like. The least impactful classes, I believe, are the ones in which there is a passive learner engaging with someone purely lecturing at them, perhaps with a PowerPoint slide behind them. Rather than engaging with the content, they're merely absorbing it. And in the real world, when we go on forwards to engage in productive civic discourse, we will need to engage with individuals, not just listen to what they're saying and have nothing to say back. So to have courses that encourage students to talk to one another, engage directly with their professors is crucial. Finally, the other thing that we need to focus on is our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, because the biggest barrier to civic discourse is surrounding yourself with people that are extremely like-minded. This echo chamber is a massive obstacle to growing as an individual that is prepared for civic discourse, an individual that is prepared to have these sorts of conversations. Now, we go to a predominantly white institution, a PWI, with about 2,000 students. And oftentimes, we come from areas where we surround ourselves with people that think like us, talk like us, have the same sorts of backgrounds. So what Hamilton College needs to do is bring in more diverse people to engage with its student base. We do this really well, for example, through our Artists in Conversation series, where we have artists come in of various different regions and have different fields of art that they present to their students. We have Common Ground, where we present our students with people that have opposing viewpoints on a particular subject matter. However, what we don't do really well is inviting the audience and our students to engage with these people. We need to do less policing, less pre-approved questions. Oh, we won't take these questions because they're too controversial. We won't take these questions because they're too informal. Less policing, more welcoming. That is what we need. What we did last week in that Common Ground event was incredible, where the speakers could engage directly with their audience members. I was actually one of the speakers that got to speak when they opened it up to the audience to speak. And I gave my speech that was completely improvised, and I got to take questions from the audience and defend my viewpoints. But what we can do further is to have conversations and such events and where there's possibilities for rebuttal, so that there's back and forth conversation. And people are challenged to defend their positions rather than just speak them out loud. Because civic discourse is not just about having an opinion, it's about the ability to communicate across differences. Therefore, it is important that we encourage our administration to bring in more diverse minds, people of various racial backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, different sexual identities and orientations. Because we are in a small liberal arts institution. There's not going to be that much variety here. Although I'm happy to be exposed to as many people that I have been exposed to, there's a far more diverse world awaiting us. So it is important that we focus on this diversity, equity, and inclusion. Finally, and the biggest thing that ties all of this together is our capacity for empathy. And I know everyone's going to say, Ilsaa, that's so Pinteresty. Of course we need empathy, we learned this in kindergarten. But it is one thing to learn about it, it is another to hold it in practice. Because how can we truly progress as a society if we cannot understand where the other person is coming from? If we are debating simply to debate rather than to actually understand a different perspective? That is why I encourage you all to do what is necessary in terms of our DEI and in terms of our courses to prepare our future graduates to engage in civic discourse. Thank you.